Hello, buddy. I'm here with my new friend Alan, and Alan's one of my subscribers, and he was kind enough to come down and meet me today for coffee and agree to come on the show. So thanks for coming here, Alan. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're from America, and when did you get here?
We got here December 1st of last year.
Okay. And you say you have a home in Sikihor?
We do. We have a home in Sikihor on the east side of the island.
Oh, nice.
Everybody says it's the wrong side because it's the furthest away from the tourist, but we consider it the right side of the island.
I wonder if because from my backyard I can see Sikihor, but I don't know what side of it is I can see.
Yeah, I'm not sure which side it is from here.
Yeah.
That's most visible.
And so, what are you doing in Dumaguete?
We just came here to drop the car off at the dealership, get some work done on it, and renew my visa.
What kind of car you got?
Ford Ranger.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
those are nice.
Dropped it off at the dealership. They're gonna do a full oil change and all that stuff, and then 2-for-1 stop because we're doing the visa renewal at the same time.
Okay. Do you have a Philippine driver's license yet?
I do not.
Yeah.
I do not. I plan on getting one, but I don't have one yet.
Yeah, you can drive over here for 6 months, you know, on your American license. And so, you met your wife. You're married. You met your wife back in America.
I did.
And she was living there.
Yep, she was there on a J1 visa, so she was working at one of the resorts, a Hyatt resort in Lake Tahoe.
Oh, nice.
And we met through a friend of a friend, kind of online, and through a friend of a friend, and then started dating. And then she actually came back to the Philippines for a year because her J1 was expired, and then she was able to get it renewed after about 9 months to a year. She got it renewed and came back to the U.S., and then we started dating again.
So then you got married.
Yep.
And so she's working on getting her citizenship, right?
She is. She is. So she's gonna have to. We're going back to the States probably end of March, and she's gonna stay anywhere from 4 to 6 months so that she can continue her residency to work on her citizenship.
So you got a green card now, then, right?
She does.
Yeah.
She does.
So once she gets her her citizenship, where are you guys going to live? You going to live in America or live here?
No, we're going to live in Sikihor. Yeah, we consider ourselves full-time residents of Sikihor at this point.
Yeah.
And our time going back to the States is just going to be kind of vacation time for me and work time for her.
Well, it's a good thing to have that American passport for your wife. I mean, because you never know what the crazy things go on in the world today, you know, and you ever have to go someplace else. There's so many countries that you can just go to. And one of the unfortunate things about being from the Philippines is that their passport's just not that good for traveling. You know, like
it's really not.
Yeah, I can't take my wife to Europe or America or many countries, you know, without jumping through a bunch of hoops and paying a lot of money for visas and stuff.
I never realized until I started dating and married my wife how privileged we are to have an American passport.
Right.
I didn't realize the hoops that people have to jump through that don't have an American passport. Because us, we just go anywhere we want. There's no questions asked. But without an American passport, you really have to do a lot of paperwork and stuff just to go anywhere.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, I'd like to take my wife to America, but I mean, last time I checked, it's going to cost well over $1,000 just for, you know, to get the visa, and you pay the money, and even if they turn you down, you have to prove like certain financial requirements and stuff, you know, to bring her, even if it's just for, you know, vacation. And if they turn you down, you don't get your money back.
Yeah, and I heard it's like a 13-month wait still.
Yeah, I heard that too. It takes a long time to get a wait.
Yeah, by that time you might not want to go anymore.
Yeah, you might, yeah.
But you've already paid the money.
Yeah, yeah. And so, what was your profession when you were back in America?
I worked at a federal prison.
Wow, where at?
In Herlong, California.
Wow.
So we're kind of Northern California. So we're north of Sacramento, way up north, about 45 minutes away from Reno, Nevada.
It's really ironic that I've met so many guys that worked in prisons. You know, like I haven't done that many interviews, and I've probably interviewed, I think, 3 or 4 guys that have worked in prisons, and I've met like another 4 or 5 that didn't want to be interviewed that worked in prisons. And you know, it's like I would think that'd be a really stressful job. Like, what was your job? What did you do? I
was a correctional officer for about 6 years, and then I worked in the chapel for another 4 years. So I wasn't a chaplain, but I was kind of the chaplain's assistant. We had 2 chaplains that work in the chapel, and I was just kind of their assistant. So still safety and security. But yeah, it was stressful. We were so short-staffed that it became more and more stressful as time went on.
Did you ever get assaulted or have anybody threaten you, or?
I was threatened on a, I would say, weekly basis in one form or another, but I was lucky. I never got assaulted.
How about your friends or colleagues?
Oh yeah, we had a lot of assaults. I always said I never wanted to be the most hated person in prison or the most liked person in prison. Because the most hated, then when something happens, they come for you. And the most liked means you're probably doing something you shouldn't be doing for the inmates.
Right.
So I always rode the fine line in the middle. So,
what made you decide to get into that?
I was in the military, and
What branch of military were you in?
I was in the Army.
Okay.
I was in the Army and the Army Reserve for 6 years.
Okay.
And I was in corrections before I got in the military, actually. And then went in the military, then got back out. But it just kind of, I think the military kind of lends itself to a law enforcement career. And especially corrections, there's always a need for it. I guess when I was a kid, I had the desire to be a police officer for a little while. But as the tide started turning in the U.S. towards police officers, I steered away from that, and I just chose to stay with corrections.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, police are getting a bad rap now. You know, because I think with video cameras and stuff now, and the body cams everybody's wearing, like, you know, a couple of bad eggs, you know, makes everybody think that that all cops are like that, and it's not true. It's just like a few bad ones.
Exactly.
And that's true in any profession. It doesn't matter what it is. You're going to find bad people.
It is. Yeah. Corrections is nice. I always say corrections is nice because I know that everybody around me is a criminal, so I can treat everybody the same. Yeah. Whereas cops on the street, they know, half people are criminals and half aren't. So they really have to pick and choose how they treat people, and they're really critiqued on it a lot more than I think we are.
Yeah, and you see these things happening with cops too, like they pull somebody over for a minor thing, and next thing you know, there's a gun involved. And,
I couldn't do it. I never had the desire. It just it's too volatile.
So your wife had a good job in America, working at a resort and everything. That's where you met. And so what has made the two of you decide that you'd rather live in the Philippines than live in America?
It was a combination of a few things. One being the political climate in the U.S. They started to turn in a direction that I didn't necessarily agree with the last few years. And then along those same lines, the inflation. Inflation just got so bad in the U.S. that it almost became not worth it to live there anymore.
Really?
I still love the U.S. and I would never give up my citizenship.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
I love the U.S. dearly, and I'll always consider it home. But inflation-wise, it's just not worth it almost. Everything got so expensive: cost of living, gas, groceries. Even I watched my dog food go up $4 in a matter of 2 months. So it was a combination of those two things. We just weren't saving money like we wanted to. We weren't able to save money like we wanted to. And we decided we could do more good living over here than we were living there, sending money over here.
Right.
She's got a large family here in Siquijor, and a large community that we like to take care of. So we decided we'd rather be here and spend the money here with the community than just sending it over.
That's so true. Like, I'm not a wealthy person by any stretch of the imagination, but 1,000 pesos, which is $20 here, you can change somebody's life practically by giving them 1,000 pesos.
Oh, absolutely.
And I love being able to help people, and I buy gas for people. I help my wife's family. And whereas in America, you can't really do much for anything. We give them $100, it really doesn't change anything.
No, yeah, it really doesn't. Yeah, we as soon as we got here, we hosted a basketball tournament for our community. We gave away the prize money, first, second, third, and fourth prize. And I think first prize was, for the first place team was 10,000 pesos. Like
$200, yeah.
Yeah, which isn't a whole lot for us. We're not wealthy either. But in the grand scheme of things, that's a nice dinner out in the U.S.
Oh yeah.
But 10,000 pesos to the first place team was like they'd won the lottery.
Well, that's like twice what somebody's making a month.
Right.
I know friends that have decent jobs here with college education, but they're only making 8,000 pesos a month.
Right. Exactly.
Like $160 a month.
Yeah. So it was really nice to be able to give away, prize money and see that it was making a difference for people.
Yeah, that's my main reason for coming here too, is financial. It's like, you know, my wife and I, we don't worry about money. We go to the store, we buy whatever we want, you know, we take little trips if we want to, and, you know, whereas in America, like, I was just constantly under stress financially, you know, and didn't seem like didn't matter how much I was making, it seemed like the bills went, you know, just as high as the money that came in, you know.
They did. My salary stopped keeping up with inflation about 8 years ago. Yeah. So it's true financial freedom over here. Yeah. And like I said, we're not wealthy at all, but it's still financial freedom.
Right.
Just because of the cost of living.
Now, are you going to continue working or doing anything? Like, you're a very young guy right now. I mean, are you going to do any side job or a little business or something, or what's your plans for your retirement?
We want to open up a business. We'd like to open up a business in Siquijor. Mm-hmm. We have a good chunk of land in Siquijor. Yeah. It's all, you know, I only know acres still. I don't know the hectares or hectares. Yeah. But we've got a couple acres of land that we'd like to put a couple bungalows on.
Oh, nice.
Our land is kind of on a route to a very popular beach. Mm-hmm. So we'd like to put maybe 6 bungalows and a swimming pool on our property. Oh. And open it up for, you know, mainly backpackers and tourists that are looking for an inexpensive place to stay.
Like an Airbnb type thing?
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. A friend of ours opened up the same setup, kind of 6 bungalows and a pool in the middle, and a restaurant. So we have a friend that's building a restaurant on a piece of the property already, and so we want to do the bungalow thing.
Nice. I was noticing your tattoos.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. How long?
Yeah. I've had that it goes all the way up to here.
Wow.
I can't see with my shirt on. It goes shoulder all the way up.
You see him a lot here, but I mean, that looks like that was a really talented artist that did that.
It was. He was very good. It wasn't cheap, but it was well worth it because this
was done in the military, or
no. After the military. This was done probably 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long did it take to do that?
It was 6 sessions, and each session probably lasted 4 to 6 hours. Oh. So it took quite a while. Yeah.
Was it really painful, or?
It was. There was parts of it, you know, on the elbow that I could live without. I don't think I'd want to do again. But it was worth it.
It's cool looking.
Yeah.
So you're here in the Philippines, and you got like what, a couple of weeks more until or you say March till you go back, right?
Yeah, I think we're gonna go back to the U.S. End of March. I've got a nephew that's graduating high school in June. Okay. So we want to back there for that, and my dad's getting up there in age. He's 83 now. Okay. So I want to be able to spend some more time with him. So we're gonna fly back and live with my brother and sister-in-law for a few months and visit the family.
Okay. There's 2 questions I've been asking all my latest people that I've interviewed. In your life, what's been like the toughest thing you've had to overcome or go through in your whole life, like challenge you've had to go through, or something you found that was an obstacle or difficulty that you had to overcome, anything like that was a real challenge for you?
I would say it's an ongoing challenge, and that'd be I have OCD. I have really bad OCD.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's probably an ongoing challenge for me.
Have you always had that, or was it from the military?
The military really kicked it into high gear.
Were you overseas when you were in the military at all?
I was. I did. I spent a year in Korea back in the 90s. Yeah. And then I did a tour in Iraq, and then I went to Afghanistan as a civilian. Oh. So.
What was it like in Iraq? Were you there like during the war, or like?
I was there after the war. I was there in 2008, so it was kind of after the big push. So we were there kind of for the reconstruction phase of everything. So it was definitely interesting. Very very third world country. Yeah. It was a challenge, but I think it helped prepare me for later on in life for sure.
No, but I was tutoring English when I first came here, and one of my students that just randomly came up was a professor of Arabic studies in Iraq.
Oh, wow.
And the guy looked like Saddam Hussein, like the big bushy beard, the hair. Yeah. And he was behind this big ornate desk at the university. And we talked for an hour, and he was a very articulate, gentle, nice man. You know, never tried to convert me to Islam or anything like that, but basically he was telling me about his life, because he was like in his 60s. He'd tell me what his life was like before Saddam, during Saddam, during the war, after the war. And he wasn't like judgmental. He's just saying, this is how my life was affected. Right. It was very interesting, you know, and to hear his story, you know. But,
Yeah, I was very lucky. I had one of my interpreters that I worked with on a daily basis. He was an older gentleman. He was about 70 years old, and he'd been Iraqi police all through the Saddam regime. Very knowledgeable. You know, he worked with Scotland Yard on a regular basis, you know, for training and whatnot. So very knowledgeable gentleman. And to listen to him talk about the different stories all through Saddam, after Saddam, during the fall, and same thing. He wasn't judgmental or anything either way. But it was interesting stories.
It makes you grateful for what you've got, like living in America and being here in the Philippines. You know, like so many people suffer so much in other countries.
Yeah, they want what we have, not just America, but you know, other more developed countries in general.
Yeah.
You know, they want what other countries have, but they just don't know how to get there.
Right. And what was it like in Afghanistan? You said you were there as a civilian?
I was. I went there as a civilian. Department of the Army employed me, but I was a civilian contractor for the Army. And Afghanistan was a whole different world. I'd say, I don't know if there's such a thing as a fourth world country, but if there is, that's Afghanistan. There are places we went to that they'd never seen Americans before. And they hadn't seen outsiders for probably a few years, you know, outside their village. Yeah. And they don't even border on developing country. The areas that we were, at least, they're straight third or fourth world country. Very challenging.
Now, all the military is gone now out of Afghanistan, aren't they?
There's still, I believe there's still a small contingent. You know, I may be mistaken, but there may be a small contingent there just doing training missions. But I think for the most part, they're all out of there.
There's so much money spent. You know, and the Russians did the same thing. They were there like back in the 80s, and they got kicked out. And there's so much money.
I was there in 2011, and I was there when Barack Obama had mentioned that the U.S. was going to plan on withdrawing from Afghanistan. So one of our jobs was to go out and talk with locals and nationals about what they thought about that. And they all said the same thing. It's going to be exactly like when the Russians pulled out. You know, the older Afghans knew that it would be exactly like when the Russians pulled out.
Like what, the Taliban would take over?
Yep. Yeah. It'd fall right back into the bad regime, and there's nothing they could do about it.
And that's pretty much what's happened, isn't it?
Yep. So they were hesitant to work with us, rightfully so, because as soon as we pulled out, we just kind of abandoned them.
Wow.
It's really sad.
It is sad. And so the other question I have is like, what's been like the best thing that's ever happened to you in your life? And guys always say like my wife, meeting my wife, or you know my son being born, something like that. Aside from like, you know, relationships, like something that was really fantastic for you, they really changed your life in a good way.
You stole my answer there about meeting my wife, and I'm going to divert to meeting my wife, but not just because I met, you know, the love of my life, but because she opened my eyes to the Philippines. Okay. I never dreamt about moving to the Philippines before I met her. Like, it never even crossed my mind whatsoever. But when she and I just started dating, she said, you should really look into cost of living in the Philippines. It's really remarkable. And I thought, okay, it's, you know, my brother and sister-in-law, they want to move to Belize for the same thing, cost of living and whatnot. But
I don't like Belize. I've been there.
Yeah, they you know, cost of living is going up there because it's becoming more popular with expats. So I actually looked at cost of living for places like Belize and Panama and those places. But I never looked at the Philippines until she mentioned it. And as soon as I did, I was kind of blown away. I really was. You know, just for example, you know, a 2-bedroom or, you know, 2-bath apartment or house, fully furnished. The cost of that just blew me away.
Oh yeah, I know. It's the biggest savings you get here. I
didn't think it was possible. Yeah. I didn't think it was possible to have a nice place for that little amount of money.
Right.
So that's probably the best thing that happened to me, was her opening my eyes to a whole nother way of life and a whole nother lifestyle over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I had no intention of coming here either. I kind of stumbled across it on YouTube. I was going to go to Thailand, and You know, so, oh, they speak English there. It's easy to get a visa. So I'll try it out for 10 days, and here it is 4 years later. I'm still here, and
Right.
no intention of leaving.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, when I think about going back to America, and I love America too, but it makes me feel, I can feel stress.
Yeah.
Just the thought of going back, and you know, and just the cost, and you know, whatever, and everything. I just,
Yep.
you know, I'm just so happy here and so settled here, and you know, it's got to be good for your state of mind too. Just feel, you know, peaceful and
Oh, yeah.
friendly people, and you know, just hey, the country's not perfect, you know, by no means, but
No.
you know, the little inconveniences you have here are easily overcome.
They are, and every day I think about that. The one thing that because we visited the Philippines, we visited here in 2018 before the pandemic, and I'll never forget walking away with the feeling that I've never met people with so little that are so happy.
That's very well said. That's so true.
I've met people with little, and I met people very happy.
Yeah.
But it's not usually in combination with each other.
Yeah.
So when I saw where my wife grew up, which is a very small village, you know, literally a village,
Yeah.
you know, in a small community with, you know, bathrooms outside and kitchens outside.
Yeah.
And, I was, the first couple days that we visited her village, I was actually really sad because these people had so little.
Right.
You know, and I just wanted to help everybody.
Right.
It wasn't probably till the third or fourth day that I spent with them that I realized that these people are 4 or 5 times happier than I am.
Right.
You know, I have more than they could ever dream of, but yet they're happier than I've ever been in my life probably. So to see people with that little that are that happy, I figured there's got to be something going on right here.
Doesn't that make you grateful for what you've got too?
Absolutely.
Like, you know, I mean, it's like I never think, oh yeah, I don't have. I never desire like a fancy car or anything, or
No.
new clothes or new anything. I'm so happy with what I've got.
Yeah.
Because I see that all these people, they have nothing and they're happy.
Yep.
And it makes you feel guilty even desiring anything at all, you know.
It does. I don't have, you know, we used to go shopping all the time when we lived in the States.
Yeah.
You know, we'd go to the mall and go
Yeah.
to the outlet malls and go shopping all the time. And
It's almost like an addiction with some people in
It
America.
was.
You know, you gotta get the brand new phone, the brand new this,
Yeah.
brand new car.
Yep. And since I've been here, you know, first off, I gave away half my clothes.
Yeah, I gave away everything.
You know, as soon as I got here.
Yeah.
You know, and just seeing people happy to get a used T-shirt that I didn't want, you know, that says something in itself. But then the desire to buy more stuff isn't there anymore.
We were talking about BGC off camera, you know, which is like the fancy part of Manila where they've got all the American stuff there, all the name brands are there. And my wife and I were there for 3 days and walking around the malls and all the name brands. And they had Ferrari and Porsche and Bugatti, I mean, all the fancy cars too. And I didn't see anything I wanted. I didn't see anything. I said, oh, gee, I want that shirt or I want those shoes. I want whatever. I just like,
Yep.
I've like, materialism is gone with me. I don't even, like, I only buy things if I need it.
Right.
You know, I need a new
Right.
pair of shoes because my other ones are torn out.
Exactly.
You know, and then I'll buy them. But otherwise, I don't just buy something because, oh, I like that, I'll buy that.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and I think a lot of Americans, it's like they're addicted to buying stuff that they don't really need.
I think we got to that point. I think we got to the point where we were buying stuff just to make ourselves happy,
Yeah,
and then it wasn't making us happy.
and you're happy
know.
for just a little while, like
Yeah.
when you, and then it goes away. You know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here you can just be happy, like it's a beautiful day and the nice people, and you got a
Right.
lovely wife, and
Right.
yeah,
I'm happier giving the stuff away here than I am buying it in the States.
yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. Well, anyway, thank you so much for sharing your time with me, Alan. You know, fantastic story. Wish you the best, and hope I get
appreciate
to know
it.
you better and see more of you. And
Thanks for having me on your channel.
my
I appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Thank you so much.